Every year, the Mississippi legislature chooses economic development projects paid for by the BP Settlements Gulf Coast Restoration Fund. Lawmakers get recommendations from an advisory board and the Mississippi Development Authority. Millions of dollars available. State Auditor Shad-White has released a report raising concerns over how projects are selected. And the auditor joins us right now to talk about that. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Dave. I appreciate it.
You know, I know you've looked at the history of the selection process. I've looked at your report. What's your key takeaway?
My key takeaway is that, if the state gets $500 million, which is what we got, over $500 million, common sense says you should assemble a team of experts and you should figure out the biggest, most effective ways of spending that money that will be game changers for the coast. And instead, what is happening is over 60% of that money is being spent really just on politicians' pet projects. Some of them are fine, some of them are very questionable, but really the big point here is there seems to be no real big strategic thought to how we would deploy $500 million to change the coast.
There are those on the coast, I've talked to them, who lobby for these big transformative projects rather than a laundry list of kind of pet projects for the lawmakers. So there are a lot of people down here on the coast who agree with you.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that people realize this is just common sense. If you, for instance, had a massive industrial development somewhere on the coast, the ad valorem taxes that would spit off could pay for all the little park benches and the water fountains that you want. But instead, what we're doing is we're taking this BP settlement money, this sort of once in a generation infusion of cash, and we're just spending it directly on the little park benches and the little water fountains here or there. And what's going to happen is all of this money will be spent, all of the projects will be complete, and we'll look at it and we'll have a few more nice things, but nothing will have changed in a transformative way on the coast, unfortunately.
Now I have this year's list of projects, 16 of them totaling $69 million. Everything from the airport, Long Beach Harbor, Memorial Hospital. What criteria should lawmakers be using to determine which projects will give us the most bang for the buck?
Well, look, they know the criteria because we have an advisory committee of economic development experts who set up the criteria. And they've said things like, this needs to have a clear economic impact. Whoever is receiving it needs to put up matching funds. We need to have clear transparency to make sure that the money is used properly and not stolen. And so they set up these criteria, and then this advisory committee of experts selects projects, and then the legislature sometimes ignores those recommendations and just funds whatever they want to.
And finally, something a little different I want to ask you about. To me, the biggest thing down here on the coast is to make sure that this money is spent on the coast, because I know central and northern Mississippi lawmakers who believe that this money should be spent around the state.
Yeah, those folks are flat wrong. This money needs to be spent on the coast because the BP oil spill happened on the coast. The coast is a key part of our state, and the coast is the region that suffered because of the BP oil spill. All of the money should be spent on the coast,